been a while. There is a reason for that, but I'll cover that off in the next video. I think a lot has happened between now and part 2 of the interior upgrades series, but it is what it is. This is this is part 3, the finale of the interior upgrades series. So I'm going to run you through now the kind of main part of the interior upgrades, which you can probably already see from, well, looking at the seats I'm sat in now. And then there's a couple of other bits we did as well, and then we'll just look at, you know, what the interior of this car used to look like and what it looks like now, and we'll do a little bit of a comparison there. So I prepared a bit of a montage on, you know, what I had to do to prepare my new seats for fitting. Do enjoy, but obviously if you want a fully detailed breakdown of each individual step, you'll have to go back and watch part 1 of this series, where I basically went through all of the steps required to get these seats looking as they do now, but with my old set of 996 seats. So anyway, I'm going to roll the film now. Enjoy. this is, I mean, you've got essentially three connectors coming in, and they're all just bundled together, and they all just slide into this. So it's quite easy to kind of remove this. There's two little tabs you can see there. You just pull those apart. This whole thing comes off, and then you can kind of look at what you've got. So the seatbelt sensor is the only wire that isn't sort of cloth wrapped, and you can see that just goes to here. So that's that one. We will just remove this completely from the seat, and we'll just transfer the 996 seatbelt onto here. So we'll just use that wiring, so then it's plug and play. So we'll ignore that. Then you've got this, which is for the airbag, which we don't want to mess with at all. So I will just kind of just tie this up somewhere, and we'll just completely ignore that. And then this, just two wires. This is our live and earth, basically, power. So the 996 will have on its connectors in the car a brown and a red live and earth for the seat as well. So you just put a flathead screwdriver on that, and these slip out quite easily. So I'll probably just reuse these existing spade connectors and just put the equivalent on the other side. Yeah, so this is the underside of the 996 seat, and it's got similar sort of connector block on it, but obviously everything's different. The seatbelt connector, it looks like it's part of the block, but actually, again, it's modular, so that that just slips out of there. So as you can see, so I can take this off. Obviously tracing it back. It's for the seatbelt buckle, and I'll just reuse that whole thing. one of the other things I did as well as part of the interior refresh was an air refresher. Now I did that because my car, although all the aircon works and everything, it just started to smell a bit damp is what I would say. What the air refresher does is it's basically like a bomb that you set off inside the car, an aerosol bomb, and then it just kind of runs through the system. You have to leave the engine and your AC running for quite a while, and to be honest, I'm really impressed by it. I would definitely recommend anybody with an older car, if it's not already been done to the system, is to run one of those through, because I mean I know that the one I used had a new car smell, a new car scent to it, and that's one thing, but it does just completely refresh your entire system. That's a really good thing to do, and I did that back in it would have probably been like July, August time last year. It's March now, and everything smells like new in here. It's fantastic. It's really good. So yeah, thoroughly recommended. Another thing I did was just tackle the levers for the front trunk and the engine compartment. So because of where they are, they obviously take they take a bit of a beating. So just sprayed them silver. The little symbols for the front trunk and the engine compartment, you can buy those on eBay. So yeah, basically sprayed them, put the water decals on, lacquered over the top. I'm very pleased with how that came out. And the other thing I did whilst I was in there, now one of the advantages I thought when I bought this car of having a lever there rather than an electronic button as you do on the Dot 2 cars, is that if you've got a flat battery, you open the door with the key and you can then just flip those levers to open up, particularly the front, hook up a battery charger and charge your battery, for example. But the reality is that's not the case, because when you lock the car, there's a little rod that actuates under those levers that locks the levers as well. So it means that when your car goes to sleep and you'd previously locked it, or even worse, if your battery goes flat, the levers don't work because you would have locked the car, right? So really stupid. I don't understand why Porsche did that. I also took out that kind of rod, a connecting rod, so that if the car does go into sleep mode or if the battery does go flat, I can open the door with the key and just use the levers as normal. That's the way I think it should be, personally. But anyway, enough about all that. Let's just have a little bit of a refresher on what this interior used to look like and then what it looks like now. So there you go. I mean, I'm incredibly happy with how it's all turned out, I must say. Yeah, but just a bit on, why I moved to 997 seats, and it's two main reasons to be honest with you. So the first one is, for me personally, the kind of wing-backed 996 seats, the wings are in slightly the wrong place for me, slightly the wrong position, where they put too much pressure on my shoulders to the point where they're sort of forcing my shoulders forward, and it doesn't feel like a very comfortable position. It doesn't feel like they're supporting me really for the upper body. Whereas the 997 seats, they're just right. They just sit in exactly the right position for me. So that's the first thing. But the biggest one is that what I found is the 996 seat base is incredibly deep. And what that means is you basically, for me personally, sit way too high in a 996 on a 996 seat. And there's no real reason for that, because the 997 seats, it's on the same rails and everything. It's like the biggest thing. As soon as you put the 997 seat in, you can sit as low or as high as you want. It's height adjustable with this little lever down here, but I prefer to be sat basically on the floor, which I can do now. And when you do that, I think it gives you a much better driving position, and also it gives you a lot more room. And that sounds silly, but like, you know, with the 996 seats, you sit in the car and then you do sort of, what strikes you is how close your legs are to the steering wheel. It feels unnatural somehow. I mean, obviously, if you've just experienced the 996 seats, you won't know what I'm talking about. But I mean, I've had the pleasure now of driving two of Toby's cars. His cars are on the channel, you can go back and watch those. But his 996, he had 997 seats in, and then later I drove his 997 Carrera S. It's just a better driving position, and it's more akin to a sports car. The 996 seats, they just feel like the seats feel really old-fashioned. Is basically what I'm trying to say. Sorry, there's a bit of a chicane here. Having a bit too much fun. Very nice. Yeah. So in my view, the 997 seats, they are better in that respect. You get a better driving position. I get the lateral support where I need it. Yeah, it is what it is. Again, I can't stress this enough. The Furniture Clinic kit that I used to recolour these seats, I had so many doubts about that. I had so many doubts. I mean, I was getting quotes from upholsterers to completely reupholster these seats in, you know, Metropole blue leather with new stitching and stuff like that. I can't even imagine how much that would cost. But for the cost of, like, I think the kit was like £140, something like that. You know, because I was thinking things like, well, if you put that much paint, and because it's literally two base coats of paint and then 2 spray coats, and then essentially 5 spray coats of sealer, and you're thinking, well, what would that do to the perforation on these seats? What would it do to the stitching? You know, but actually, if you follow the instructions, you get it just right. You'll never, you know, you don't apply this stuff really thick. You do several really thin coats, and you end up with, well, I mean, I'm not, you know, be careful not to blow my own trumpet, but a perfect kind of factory finish. I'm, yeah, really impressed. Really impressed. So again, really happy with the results. The seats combined with the, you know, the trans tunnel retrimming that I did in stitched leather. You know, the new radio, the GT3 console delete. I just think everything just kind of works. There's a lot of 996 in here still, but now there's a little bit of 997, and with this, yeah, with this old school 4-spoke steering wheel, there's technically a little bit of 993 in here as well. There's a bit of a mismatch of 911 generations in here. Because it's all one factory colour, it all just works, and I think it all just looks factory. So yeah, really chuffed with how everything looks, how everything feels. So now I can concentrate on everything else I want to do to this car. So handling and exhaust, and then I've got various other kind of cosmetic issues to sort out as well. So although I thought at one point I was nearly finished, kind of just feels like I'm just getting started, to be honest. But for now, thank you so much for sticking with me, plenty more videos to come, lots more plans for this car. So yeah, do stay tuned, and yeah, I'll see you again soon for the next one. Thank you very much.